What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Batters Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. I was really disappointed yesterday because we had a really good show going yesterday, but I just pinned us up against my workout session. And so I leave when there were a bunch of people watching, a bunch of people commenting, engaging, and so I was really bummed about that because I felt like yesterday could have been a show where we went for 2 hours because everybody was really interested, and I had to abruptly end, and I felt really bad about that. So anyway, decided, you know what, I'm not doing the in-transit edition today. I'm going to get up, do the show at the normal time at 7:30, and do about an hour, or so, as much time as we need, and then I'll go work out. So anyway, good morning to everybody. Hope y'all are having a great start to your Friday. If you missed yesterday, we got a lot into the Kayshon conversation, and it was getting pretty intense. If I could just put a button on that before we get into today, which is Major Burns is returning, which is great news. Some report suggestions out there about Carr to the Saints, which I'd certainly like to talk about as well. It is a Pelicans game day today. I'm excited about that. I guess if I could just put one more punctuation on the Kayshon convo from yesterday. It's just that usually when something doesn't seem right, something isn't right, and I think that's what's going on here. But the things that seem obvious, like, oh, did Kayshon and Brian Kelly not get along? Well, if that were the case, he would have declared initially. Some of y'all were asking, was it because Jay Daniels was returning? 100% not. I'll tell you that definitively. Sometimes there's other things at play, and I don't know what they are. Maybe we'll find out. But anyway, that's what I would just like to say is don't assume the worst within the program. Sometimes there are issues at play with the player. So anyway, so the great news though, LSU found out Major Burns is coming back, which is great news. Because remember, LSU is really going to be remaking their entire secondary essentially. Jark Bernard Converse, Mekhi Gardner has opted out of the bowl game. Colby Richardson's out of eligibility. Jay Ward is going pro. So Joe Fouché is out of eligibility. So you're remaking a lot of your secondary. So the fact that you've already gotten word this week that Greg Brooks is coming back, and now word that Major Burns is coming back, although Major Burns was hurt for a lot of this year, the fact that you can at least start the conversation in your secondary with, okay, well, Greg Brooks is your nickel, Major Burns is one of your starting safeties, and you can kind of go from there. That's a good thing. A guy with that much experience, talent, veteran presence in that secondary. And then you see where guys like Sevyn Banks and LaTerrence Welch fit, along with some of the really talented guys you brought in. Zy Alexander, Denver Harris, the freshmen coming in. They're probably not done either. So Major Burns coming back is really, really significant. Because, if he wasn't back, I really don't know what you would do at safety. Maybe you could put Sage Ryan back there. Matthew Langlois, a third-year guy. But it really feels like you'd have to go hit the portal for some type of safety help. And that does kind of steady you, which is a very, very good thing. The other news, I wouldn't even call it news, but there's just rumors out there that Derek Carr could be linked potentially to the Saints. look, the Saints are a team that's going to be looking for a quarterback, and obviously Derek Carr is likely done in Las Vegas. Not only was he benched, but he left the team, and so now all the reports are out there about teams that need quarterbacks. Saints among them. Commanders potentially. Jets, Titans, Bucks. If Tom Brady isn't back, which most certainly seems like he won't be back in Tampa next year. He's a free agent. So, but what would it cost? There was one trade proposal that popped up. I saw on Twitter. I think it was maybe The Athletic who posted it, which suggested giving up your second round pick. Which, keep in mind, the Saints' second round pick is probably going to be somewhere, in the top 10 picks of round 2, and then a couple of mid-round picks as well, maybe like a 4 and a 5. Which, for a team that has the cap issues the Saints do, and the bad contracts that they do, the only real way out of that is what they did in 2017, which is you hit home runs on a whole bunch of draft picks, right? Like Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, Alvin Kamara in round 3, Marcus Williams in round 2, Alvin Kamara in round 3, Trey Hendrickson in round 3. That's really your ticket. You have to have a draft like that where you're just hitting on guys even in the middle and late rounds who become starters for you. Excuse me. So that way you have a whole bunch of starters on rookie contracts while you purge the old bad contracts from your roster. So I don't know that I'm down with giving up that much draft capital for Derek Carr. Would you like to sign Derek Carr? Is Derek Carr an upgrade over what you have now? Yes. Am I convinced he's the guy that's going to bring the Saints back to a Super Bowl? No. Okay, let's say some good mornings. Let's see what y'all got here. Nicole Laverde, good morning. Patrick McKenzie, been on vacation. What happened with Boutte? So it was announced that Kayshon was going to not participate in the bowl game, and then LSU announced that. And then a few hours later, Kayshon went on social media and announced that he was not returning after consideration he was going to enter the draft. So a lot of people have speculated as to what's going on there, and y'all have heard a lot of rumors. Some from people I would deem credible, but nothing that I'm in any way comfortable with saying out loud. But suffice to say that, again, when something doesn't seem right, like that's weird. It's probably weird. Probably something weird happened. Trey Fisher, good morning. Chuck Sanchez, what's up, Chuck? Get it? Up, Chuck. Craig Duke, hey, Dad, good morning. Glenn Thomasy, Tyler Smith, good morning. Craig Duke, got basketball school now. Jacques went nuclear on fans talking smack on Jaden Daniels. I think he was speaking for most of us. I didn't hear Jacques do that, but that's a little surprising. But I also, just because you don't really see Jacques go nuclear, but I haven't seen it, by the way. But good for him. I mean, I feel the same way. I think y'all know how I feel. I mean, I think with respect to Jaden, a lot of fans have just, they've picked their side like they did with Miles Brennan. And I told y'all, Miles Brennan ain't starting y'all. He's running a distant third in the quarterback battle. And then during this, during camp, it was nuts bus. I was like, they didn't bring Daniels in here not to start. So, but people married themselves to those ideas about, and then you convince yourself with every morsel of or shred of evidence you have that you're right. You look for that affirmation and you ignore all the things staring you in the face that suggest, oh, how about the quarterback that started 40 games and accounted for 3,500 yards this year and like you don't beat Florida, Alabama, Ole Miss without Jay Daniels. I mean, anyway, no sense in having the conversation anymore. It's what it is. It's going to be a good thing for LSU. My only question is how many people next fall, when we're sitting here doing this show, we're going, "Hey man, well you were right. I was dead wrong. I said I didn't want Jaden Daniels coming back." Probably not. I'm not sure we're going to hear much of that. I would love to go back and look at comments in 2018 about Burrow. Brady Smith, good morning. Dalton Barnett, good morning. Heading to Biloxi for New Year's. Hope you have a great one. Thank you, Dalton. Same to you, man. Safe drive. This weather's awful out here, man. It's actually a good opportunity to remind you, man. With weather like this, heavy rain, high winds, limbs falling, click the HUDCO link. Let us come do a free no obligation roofing inspection. Get front of the line. So, I mean, it's easy. It takes 30 seconds to fill out the form on your homepage. So, just click the link that's pinned there in the chat, and we service the entire state of Louisiana. So no matter where you are, what corner of the state you're in, we'd love to come help you. Chosen Kingston, Wendell Norman, Trivia Carter, Lucy B, Brian Wynn, what's going on? FK, the NFL money may be better than NIL money. Yeah, that's not it. So again, with Kayshon, if that were the reason, he would have declared already. Like he would have declared previously, he wouldn't have come back. And I know Kayshon was getting money not only from Gordon, but from the collective. He had a Carr deal as well. Listen, Kayshon went into this season. Let's look at some numbers. So Kayshon went into this season projected as let's just call it a top half of round one pick. Let's just say he would have been pick 15, okay? And he was slotted higher than that. I mean, a lot of mock drafts had him top 5, like first receiver off the board. But let's just say 15. Okay, that's a $16.8 million contract with $9.4 million at signing. Okay, so that's you sign, boom, $9.4 million. Total value over 4 years is $16.8 million. Okay. I have heard he has been projected now as a 3rd round pick. Okay. Could he go higher? Sure. But that he was slotted somewhere in the 75 to 100 range, okay, which would put him in round 3. Let's say he's at the top half of that. 2022, let's look at the 75th pick last year was Christian Harris, okay, guy we're familiar with, linebacker. Christian Harris's contract, 4-year, $5.3 million. That includes 1.069 at signing. So keep in mind, Kayshon went from projected thinking he's going to put $10 million right up front in his pocket. Total value over 4 years for 16.8, to if he's the 75th pick, his total value of his contract, the total value is half of what he was thinking he was going to get at signing. So, like, that is a massive, massive financial hit. So when you say NFL money's better than NIL money, no, it ain't, brother. Not when you're thinking about what you are going to get, what you were projected to get. So for Kayshon, financially, it made sense to say, let me come back, let me put another year of good film, let me show more maturity for these NFL teams, and let me go make $5 million back, right? So no, I don't think saying NFL money is better than NIL money is the reason, because of how he knows where he's slotted. If I know where he's being projected, he knows where he's being projected. I mean, and this latest thing, like abruptly declaring for the draft after saying you're coming back, you don't think NFL teams are going to snoop around and find out why? And I got a feeling it's not good news for Kayshon. Damon Perkins, good morning. Dalton Barnett, is number 7 starting to have unrealistic expectations? Dalton, I've said this a million times, man. I don't care if people put a poop emoji on the front of their shirt. I don't care. I don't care about jersey numbers. I don't care about 18. I don't care about 7. What I will say is this. If it matters to the players, cool. Cool. If it matters to them, awesome. There are things that matter to 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds that don't matter to a 40-year-old. So if that's a dangling carrot for them, sure. But as fans, understand, yeah, I mean, look at what's happened with the 7 deal. Kayshon had a rough year this year. Stingley ended up getting hurt and opting out. Jamar Chase didn't play the year he got number 7. Who was that kid that Jonathan Giles? Oh my God. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I think it's silly, but whatever. They want to do it. Matters to them. Cool. Hunter Broadhead, what's up? Edwardo got the crabs. Good morning. Great shirt today. Yeah, man. I don't know when. Erica probably gave me this. Erica usually gives me and Drew matching shirts for Father's Day, and I turn them into sleep shirts. So he probably had one that said Daddy's Boy or something like that. Great pics of you and Drew at the P-Mac. How about the Finding Mulkeys? Yeah. So we took Drew to the game, the Arkansas game, a couple nights ago. Only the third time we've ever taken him to a game. The first game we ever took him to was maybe 2 years ago. I think they were maybe playing VCU. No, that's not right. I can't remember what game they played, but we sat down low and the horn bothered him and we didn't make it very long. It was not a good night. He just wasn't ready cognitively for that. And then last year we went to a game early in the season against Liberty, the game we went to, and he just would not sit in the seat. All we did was just make laps around the concourse for about a half an hour and then had to leave. So the other day was really special because he walked up the ramp I held his hand, but he walked up the ramp by himself and had to carry him. And then he sat in his seat for basically the whole game and watched it. He wasn't watching the game. He doesn't know what's going on, but the action around him kept him very entertained, which was good. So yeah, it was really cool. Hayden Shizola, good morning. Great week to be a Tiger fan living in Arkansas. Stephen Miller, good morning. Eric Wilderrotter, my favorite Saban line is that he wants guys, a player does this and this versus but guys. I feel like Boutte will be explaining to teams why he isn't the latter. Yeah, listen, Eric. Kayshon is going to go to the combine. He's going to run well. He's going to test off the charts, and he has great film out there. They can go, just like Stingley in his freshman year, they can go back and look at Kayshon's freshman year and the first half of his sophomore year and go, okay, he's just going to have a lot of questions to answer. And that's going to be the most important for him. If he can go to the combine, answer questions that are satisfactory to NFL teams, then he'll make himself a lot of money. And if not, then it's probably going to be a long wait for him on draft night. Trey Guy, morning, Scone. What's good, Dad? I destroyed the like button. Yes, thank you. Please smash that like button if you would on YouTube, Facebook. Please like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. Jordan Smith, Kayshon, let's see, so read that one. Bubba Smith, he said Kayshon should have stayed. His stock is way down than expected. That's my thing, Jordan. I don't know that was an option anymore. Read between the lines here. Guy had declared they were excited to have him back. Then abruptly, LSU announces he's unavailable for the game. And then he abruptly announces he's leaving. Something happened, right? It wasn't a reconsideration of the facts already at hand. Something happened. Bubba Smith, Larry Freeman, Quentin Brakebill, Kelly Groves, Paul Losi, good morning, Brant Roban. Crazy how people like Les Miles and Ogeron can win natties that never seem to sustain success. Hopefully Kelly can do that. Guess that shows how special a place LSU is. So, Brant, I'll push back a little bit on Les. Les did sustain success. And I think by and large, because of how it ended or the off-the-field stuff, people have painted a different picture. But Les Miles was a pillar of consistency. His worst year, like bottoming out, was 8-4. Les was a pillar of consistency. Now, we may not have liked the lack of development of quarterbacks, the lack of progression within the offense, a lot of those things that we talked about for a long time. But you can't say that Les wasn't consistent. I mean, Les won a title in 07, played for another one in 11, kind of got screwed out of that one, and had a team that was championship caliber in 2016. But again, couldn't get out of his own way offensively and ruined a great opportunity in 2016. Dale Broussard will be fine at wide receiver next season. Yeah, Dale, it just means that you're going to have to count on some of the freshmen, which is actually a little exciting. To see guys like Shelton Sampson and Jalen Brown come in to see what they may be able to do. I'll tell you, I think Aaron Anderson, the transfer from Bama, was your day one kick and punt returner who you probably weren't going to see a ton from at wide receiver. I think now he's probably your slot guy, taking Kayshon's spot. So, I think, you're going to count. Chris Hilton's coming back off an injury. He should have a bigger role, but with Jure going pro, Kayshon and Jack going pro, Jack Best transferring, you return Malik, Brian Thomas, Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton. You bring in Aaron Anderson, and Landon Ibieta is there as well. I think I omitted him the other day. Just been out of sight, out of mind for Landon. I know it was hurt earlier this year, and redshirted, and then all the freshmen that you have coming in. So yeah, I mean, you got numbers there. Just someone new is going to have to step up. So it'll be exciting to see who that is. Kenny Bergeron, Mortimer. I know it's not going to happen, but could Besh get out of TCU and come back? Not if he's already signed his grant and aid paperwork. Let's see, and I don't think that's going to happen. Dale Broussard, basketball took down Bacon Bits 2 days in a row. Aaron Everett, yeah, man, Mulkey's got them ladies rolling, man. They're going to be great this year. Aaron Everett, good morning. Next man up with Boutte departure. Lance Richard, morning, Matt. What's the ballpark figure of what Kayshon's NIL deals were worth this season? I will comfortably say that Kayshon made six figures. With Gordon, with the collective, I don't know how you want to quantify this, but I know we got a Carr, which I don't know if he still has, by the way. I actually doubt it. But for a college athlete, for any college student, it's pretty good. Deborah Coward, good morning. Dale Broussard, which wide receiver led the team in drop passes this past season? LSU will be just fine. I actually don't know the answer to that, Dale. I'm assuming you're assuming that that's Kayshon. I'm not sure that that's true, actually. I don't know that that's true. Scott Shirley, have you heard any practice reports about Fitzgerald West, Landon Ibieta, and Derek Davis? Are they taking reps at their normal positions? I have not. Scott, I think Fitzgerald West is an interesting one. A guy who they signed to be a center, moved him back over to defensive line. Or Kelly staff moved him to defensive line. Ibieta, we know, is redshirted this year, hasn't played. Derek Davis is fascinating to me. A guy that entered the portal but's going to play in the bowl game. I would love to see him back because that's a guy who could obviously play safety for you or could give you reps at running back. Chris Baker, I don't get why so many people are obsessed with Besh and wanting him back. Have they not all seen who's in our wide receiver room, who's coming in? Just a thought. Chris, I think there's a couple of very obvious things about Besh. Louisiana kid, right? There is sort of the underdog mentality there, being that he was like a 2-star and was committed to Vanderbilt, flipped to LSU, and then had a really good freshman year, especially after Kayshon got hurt. I think, there was the Besh, I'm from Louisiana stuff, and Jack really put himself out there. I mean, he really sought NIL deals and opportunities, so I think he became a fan favorite. But to your point, as far as production on the field, I agree with you. I think, I think Jack's a very good player, and I would love to see him come back. But I agree with you. Like, LSU will be fine at that position. And, we talked about this whenever Jack went to the portal. On3 did their, On3 has their portal rankings, right? Like the player rankings of players in the portal. And they ranked the top 300. Jack Besh wasn't in the top 300. If you look at the receiver rankings, they had him 62 among receivers in the portal. So it's again, that's just one metric. I mean, it's not to say that that's the be all end all standard and that's the gospel, but it's one perspective, right? All right, we're brought to you by Brock, Yellow Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, brortho.com. You need an orthopedist to get to Brock. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Hudco's pinned there in the chat, both on YouTube and on Facebook. So, what weather is awful. I saw this morning from Entergy and Demco, some of the power companies around here were saying, man, there's 50-mile-an-hour squalls of wind this morning. So, man, you have your limbs falling on your roof. If you're experiencing that high wind, you could have roof damage. Not know it. Let us come check, man. It's free. Like, it's totally free. It's not a catch. It's like, yeah, it's free. We'll send someone out to jump up on your roof and just check to see if you got damage. And you'd rather know than not know, because I tell you, man, the most common call we get is a panicked homeowner with water leaking into their house. And by then, now you've exacerbated the problem, because not only do you have roof damage, but now you got water in your house. And so then you're talking about having to dry out an attic or cutting sheetrock or sealing because you got water spots on your ceiling or running down your wall. It's just, don't take the risk, y'all. Charlie Cavell, David Tolson, how was the workout yesterday? It was good, man. Thank you very much. Getting right over at Traction. Appreciate young Tevin Moten over there is taking care of me over at Traction. And we've stepped it up. It's funny, too, because when I go work out, all the baseball guys are in there. So it's like there's a big group of baseball guys that are in town. A lot of them LSU guys, a lot of them not. But like Papirski, Doty, Cabrera, Gavin Dugas goes and works out with them sometimes. But then a lot of guys who are from this area that didn't play at LSU. Max Scarola, who played at Southeastern. There's a big kid who pitched at Tulane. I can't remember his name offhand. Bobby Bradley he's from Biloxi area, plays for the Cleveland Indians. Ben Bramer, Catholic High guy, was in the Nationals organization. He's a free agent right now. Who else am I missing? Kid from Sound. Blaine Enlow. Anyway, I guess my point is, like, there's all these like professional baseball players and me. It's so stupid. It's like, which doesn't belong? Oh, old bald guy. Right. Smash that like button if you would appreciate it. Let's see. Armstrong grappling. Nuss could start for many college teams next year. I don't see any reason why he stays. I anticipate he announces entering the portal after the bowl game. Maybe. I think it's a possibility. I think maybe he could announce after spring, or maybe he could stay. I don't think you just jump into the portal without an obvious landing spot. And the thing to keep in mind is the longer you wait, the fewer spots there are, right? So, like Drew Pine entered the portal. Notre Dame had an opening. Well, now it looks like they're getting a kid from Wake Forest. Cincinnati had an opening. Well, Emory Jones is committed there. So, like, you just look and go, okay, where are the openings? It's not just jump in the portal. It's, all right, jump in the portal, where are you going to go? And, again, Armstrong grappling, maybe a lot of coaches in the college football world see what a lot of LSU fans refuse to, which is a kid that's careless with the football and makes a lot of mistakes. And anyway. Reed Rule, happy Friday. I don't want Carr here. I feel like everyone else in the NFL has waited 9 years for him to take the next step, and he hasn't done it. That's not exactly fair, Reed. So Carr, first of all, he has been a productive player, really good team guy in an awful organization. And there's something to be said for that, okay? Now, you could say, look, Joe Burrow went to an awful organization and turned them around quickly. Fair. I'm not saying Derek Carr is Joe Burrow. The thing that might give me a little pause is the fact that he is 31 years old. And here you go. The interceptions the last 2 years obviously are a concern, but he's been consistent. 3,200, 3,900, 3,900, 3,400, 4,000, 4,000, 4,100, 4,800 a year ago, and then 3,500 this year with a couple games still to go, but it looks like he won't play. So my point is, he has put up some big numbers. He just hasn't necessarily been on great teams. And there's a lot of reason to believe, look, he's a very accomplished veteran starting quarterback in the NFL, and I think he's going to start somewhere next year. But if you're the Saints looking for your franchise quarterback, at some point you've got to try to draft that guy, and hopefully they do. What do you? Oh, Armstrong Grappling said LSU's wearing purple jerseys, gold pants, gold helmets. No, they're not. Reagan Leicestershire, good afternoon from the Czech Republic. Any news on Boutte's change of heart? Best of luck to the young man. Kind of talked about it a little bit. Again, I don't necessarily think that it's just Kayshon had a change of heart. I think something happened and forced this decision. I don't know what it is. Dane Bergeron, good morning, Matt. Are you doing Whiskey and Wine? We are. Thank you for asking, Dane. Yes, so me and T-Bob will be at Don Juan for Whiskey and Wine on Monday. So I know it's New Year's Day, but, or I guess it's not New Year's Day. It's January 2nd, but it's the sort of the recognized holiday because the holiday's on a Sunday. So if you're off of work and you want to come hang out, man, we will be there for the game and for Whiskey and Wine post-game. We hope to see a lot of y'all there at Don Juan. All right, let me get going a little quickly here. I got about 15 or 20 minutes left. Do you think Boutte leaving frees up enough cap space for us to attack the transfer portal? I think they've already done that. Cliff Nelson, good morning. Kayshon to the Cowboys in round 2. Let's go. Dalton Barnett, Jonathan Giles went from number 7 to poop emoji for sure. Let's see, Brandon, good morning. Will you be dancing at the wedding tomorrow? Will we see a TikTok video? Maybe. I probably won't be the one taking the TikTok video, but I'll tell you this. I'm really considering y'all wearing, I think my all-whites, my all-white Air Force Ones are coming in today. And I'm thinking about wearing my all-white Air Force Ones with slacks and a sport coat. Like going tennis shoes to the wedding, sneakers to the wedding. Jordy may be wearing sneakers. He's the one getting married. So I'm thinking about doing it. That'd be a bold step for me to do that to a wedding, but I think I'm gonna do it. I went and bought 2 more pair of shoes yesterday, y'all. 2 more pair of sneakers. I went to Ruckus here in Baton Rouge. I got some Adidas Noras, and I got another pair of Air Force Ones, some dark blues. They look really good. Dark blue and white looks really good. Looks really good. I'm addicted. I'm definitely addicted. And I ordered my my purple and gold Jordan 1s. I'm pretty fired up. My shoe game is gonna be on fire, y'all. I would have never in a million years thought they could have flipped me into a sneakerhead, but 1 pair of Air Force 1s did it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm hooked. Let's see. Matt Plavidal. Matt, I'm finishing my first week on my own with the post service. No urge to become Newman yet. Good to know. Wolfpack saying we would have not won all these games without Jaden is not a valued argument. Nobody knows that. Wolfpack, but the same is true to the contrary. You couldn't say that they would have won any of those games with Garrett Nussmeier. What we do know is that Jaden Daniels is the one in those games that carried you to those wins. So that is an objective fact. And I do know that. Anything to your point is nothing but pure speculation. Nikki C, if the Saints win out, do you think they keep Dennis Allen as a head coach? I think they're going to keep Dennis Allen either way. And I don't think they're winning on Sunday. Let's see, Shane, big fella, good morning. Storming here on Sherwood Forest. Man, be safe out there, Shane. And again, y'all, if you're in this weather, I mean, I woke up this morning, it was pitch black in the house because of all this weather. Give us a shout at HUDCO. And a big day, I'll tell you, for ProCharge. Regardless of what you feel about electric vehicles, I know it's a hot button for a lot of people. I am unemotionally, politically on it. My point is that the federal government has allocated hundreds of millions of dollars to increase electric vehicle charging station infrastructure. The state of Louisiana has been allocated $73 million for EV charging stations. And if you follow the major auto manufacturers, they're dramatically ramping up production of EVs in the next year, 5 years plus. And somebody's got to install those chargers. So in Louisiana, ProCharge EV, and yesterday, a whole heap and ton of those chargers came off the truck from Enelex, which is the company based out of Italy, which produces the #1 EV charging station in the world. And so ProCharge EV is the Louisiana rights distributor for the juice box from Enelex. So exciting day, man. Exciting day for sure. Spread the news. After Brian Kelly's first recruiting class at LSU, do you believe enough was done to fix the secondary? Yeah. I think I think the most important thing, Robert, is the guys they added aren't going to be one-year guys, right? Zay Alexander has 2 years. Denver Harris has 3 years. And then, of course, you signed the freshman as well. So you have reloaded your numbers with guys that aren't a bunch of one-and-dones. So I'm not saying that you're going to be elite there next year. Could be. If Denver Harris plays like a #1 pick and Zay Alexander and LaTerrence Welsh takes that next step, and you still got Seven Banks back there, and maybe Jeremiah Hughes or Ashton Stamps comes in and gives you snaps. Yeah, you could be. Reagan, let's share. Expectations for Matt McMahon are tempered, and they should be, but is he going to be given a fair shake to build a program? Oh, yeah, because keep in mind, Reagan, of course he's going to be given time, and he's going to do great. He's a smart guy, and he's going to do great, but and a great coach. Keep in mind, like Scott Woodward hired him. Scott Woodward ain't going nowhere. So that the AD is going to give him plenty of time to build the program, which he will. He's going to recruit exceptionally well. He's going to build this program. He's a smart guy. He's a good coach. I mean, it's obvious when you look at the way that they've handled end of game scenarios this year. They execute. They have a plan. They execute, which is good to see. Cliff, really need the Saints to beat Philly this week to help Dallas. What are realistic expectations they can? Cliff, I'll tell you this. If Jalen Hurts plays, it's virtually zero. Because Jalen Hurts has torched the Saints each of his first 2 years in the NFL, and the Saints' biggest Achilles heel defensively is a running quarterback. And if Jalen Hurts is healthy and goes, I don't give the Saints much of a shot. If Jalen Hurts doesn't play and it's Gardner Minshew, then I think and I haven't looked at the injury report to see, but if Marshawn Lattimore finally gets back out there, and you have Lattimore to cover A.J. Brown, then you're talking about something that's a little more realistic. I don't know if the Saints offensively can get going. I mean, Dallas had a great day against Philly on Christmas Eve, but I don't know if the Saints are capable of that. But it's just all about Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts plays, I give the Saints virtually no shot to win. If he's healthy, put it to you that way. Jared Esprit, JJ, Joseph Armato, good morning. Let's see, Randall Cunningham could do it with the Vikings. I think Carr could do it in New Orleans. Man, Randall Cunningham was special in a different era of football when there weren't a lot of dudes like that played quarterback like Randall Cunningham running out there. But there's plenty of examples of guys late in their career who make a change in scenery and have success. Tom Brady did it. Kurt Warner did it. I mean, there's plenty of examples of Drew Brees, guys who in their second stop became great players again. Let's see, a couple more times 8-12. Let's see. Josh Teagle, what's up, man? At that level of separation is rarely talented. It's effort and what's between the ears. That's the only thing under question right now. He could have changed the perception and coming back. Yeah, Josh, I'm going to go back to it, though. I think that was his plan. And when something happens abruptly like that, something happened to change his mind. What that is, I can't say I know definitively. I've been told some things that I don't know if they're true, so I'm certainly not going to repeat them. But maybe in time we'll find out. Brant Roband, does a player like Boutte really take that biggest step back from one year to another, barring no injuries? Or was he double covered all year? Are you just talking about the production? I mean, there's a lot of factors. Look, I mean, you also had a quarterback who found a new favorite target, Malik Neighbors. I mean, Malik was Jaden Daniels' go-to guy this year. But as far as like draft status, yeah, you could drop that much in a year. I mean, Matt Barkley for me, is always the poster child of this. Matt Barkley would have been the first overall pick. Decided to come back to school at USC, play another year, and I think he went around 4 or 5 to Buffalo. I mean, cost himself millions of dollars by coming back. So, yeah. John Ellis, good morning. Let's see, David Tolson, clutch free throws by Harris at the end of the game to seal it against Arkansas, despite a dismal shooting performance for the game. I think you mean Miller. Adam Miller hit the free throws at the end. Ricky Murphy, good morning, Matt. Do you think lack of targets from returning quarterback plays in Seven's decision to leave? Ricky, I do not. Again, I know why fans are... Because if that was the case, he would have left. He would have initially declared. If it was a conflict with Brian Kelly, he would have declared initially. Like, if it was going to get money instead of... Like, he would have declared. But he chose to come back and then had a change of heart. Well, the change of heart came because something happened. Not all the normal, like the very logical things that you're thinking of along the way. That's not it. No. Devonka De Silva, good morning. Scott Wilson, heard a ton of great things about Howard. Is he our second string quarterback or is Nuss better option? I mean, Scott, I will tell you, I would take, if you gave me the pick, if I could only have one next year, Walker Howard or Nussmeier, I would take Walker Howard. I think he has the far greater upside. I think he's got the better head on his shoulders. I think physically he's a better prospect than Nussmeier. If you gave me one of the two, I would take Walker Howard over Garrett Nussmeier. Charlie Cavell, Mike Touche. Could Walker get a medical red shirt this season? No, and he's not going to need it. Thomas Spencer, hope you and your family have a happy weekend, safe New Year's. Thank you, Thomas. Same to you and yours. Megan Hurst, Reagan Lee. Do you think Olave plays this week? I don't know, Reagan, and honestly, the tough part, like being off work all this week, I'm not following it at all. So I've not looked at an injury report. I really don't know. It would be disingenuous for me to give you like any type of real answer. Please smash that like button if you would. 120 watching on YouTube, 43 likes. And thanks to everybody who's watching on demand as well. Jeff Richmond, Darren Gagnon. Morning, Matt. Do not understand all the hate for Jaden Daniels. I agree with you. One of the main reasons we have a chance for a 10-win season. Exactly. And Darren, it's not all that hate. It's a vocal minority that had hitched their wagon to Nussmeier and don't want to give the other guy credit. That's what it is. And for whatever reason, that's what it is. Charlie Cavell, what is Banks' status for the bowl game? Good question, Charlie. I know he's not... Let me check. I don't think he was on the... I don't think he was on the depth chart they released. Let me check real quick. Yeah, they list Jay Ward, Jark Bernard Converse, Colby Richardson, Seven Banks, and LaTerrence Wells. So yeah, so he's on the depth chart for the game. All right, a couple more minutes here, y'all. Let's see. Matt Lusto, Matty Ice, Weston Weaver from the Deer Stand. Chet Buxton, what's up? Dane Bergeron, Matt, got to check out the On Cloud sneakers. They are most comfortable. Dane, Erica bought me a pair of On Clouds a couple of years ago. Put them on my feet. Hated them. Sent them back. E-Rock created this monster. Walter Hairston, I truly appreciate your time and effort in learning the truth instead of making your thoughts a truth like the Daniels haters are constantly doing. Joseph Armato, Kayshon reminds me of Leonard Fournette. Good football player, won't live up to the hype. Man, that's a far cry. I mean, Leonard Fournette. So first of all, he went to Jacksonville, okay? And Jacksonville, at the time he was drafted, was still an abomination of an organization. As a rookie, he ran for 1,000 yards. In 2018, because the injury played in just 8 games. 2019 ran for 1,100 yards and that was the year, I believe that was the year they went to the AFC Championship game, and he had he caught 76 passes that year, which by far led. Well, no, it didn't lead the NFL running back. St. Kamara had 81, but he basically had Kamara's like season receiving and ran for 1,100 yards. Jacksonville ends up cutting him in the offseason. Say what you will. Organizationally, a lot. Go watch The Pivot. Go watch The Pivot with Leonard Fournette. They talk a lot about that. He goes to Tampa and wins a Super Bowl with Tampa in year 1 and becomes a favorite target of Tom Brady's. This year, I think he's leading the NFL in targets among receivers. He's got 78 targets this year. Fournette does. I don't, man, that's, you're at that, Joseph Armato, that is a really, I have a tough time getting down with that. I cannot disagree. I don't think I can disagree with you more on the Fournette thing. Is E-Rock making lemon cookies for New Year's Eve? Probably not for New Year's Eve, but my guess is she'll make them for whiskey and wine. If she knows Cliff is going to be there, she'll make lemon cookies for whiskey and wine. One more go at it. Captain Karate Matt, I would take a 5-man team with outstanding defensive play any day. Agree or disagree? I assume you're talking about basketball. It depends what your goal is. You'll win some games, but you'll never win a championship like that. You got to have scorers in this day and age. You've got to have guys that can score the basketball, and that's LSU's biggest flaw right now is they don't have scorers. Now, you had a great defensive game plan. You held Arkansas 20 points under its season average, and that's awesome. That's also, I don't think, sustainable. Like, you're going to have to be able to score the basketball, and right now they struggle to do that. I mean, that's just real. LSU is offensively very challenged. Like the fact that they shoot, I'm going to look up team stats. I mean, they're under 60% from the season from the free throw line, which is an abomination. I'm sorry, they're at 68%. 68% from the free throw line is 45% from the floor, 35% from 3. They just don't have shooters, man, and that's going to be a problem that bites them eventually. Like, not eventually, that will bite them consistently against good teams. But like, man, you beat Arkansas 60-57. Like, you're not going to win a lot of games in the SEC scoring 60 points. Just flatly, I'm just telling you. I don't want to throw a wet blanket because any win over a top 10 team is sensational. But also understand, like, when LSU scored 60 points. They were 40% from the floor, 23% from 3, 4 of 17, and 50% from the free throw line, 6 of 12. 50% from the line, 6 of 12, and you beat a top 10 team. That's astonishing. Like, that's just not repeatable. You held Arkansas to 19 points in the first half, and then they scored 38 in the second half, but they were ice cold from 3 in the first half, and you played a good defensive game. So, and Trey Hannibal was awesome. Like, they just didn't have an answer for Trey Hannibal. He had 19 points, 9 to 14 from the floor. He kept attacking the basket, and they could not stop him from getting to the basket. So it was a fun day, man. It was a fun day for sure. And appreciate those when they come. Who gets number 7 next year? Does Kelly get rid of it? Not sure, Patrick. Anthony Portello, Leonard Fournette will leave the NFL as a top 5 back of his generation. That's fair. I mean, he's still got more to go, right? But he plays another 5 years and continues to accumulate stats the way that he has. He'll be a guy that runs in his career for 10,000 yards and is one of those that people look at as having had a great career with longevity. Won a Super Bowl, brought Jacksonville to an AFC championship game. Yeah. Do you think we'd lose Walker since Jaden is coming back? Brant, I'm going to tell you, man, everyone talking about Nussmeier, I'm way more concerned about Walker Howard now. From the standpoint of, I know Walker was content to come in here and sit this year. He knew he was coming in here to sit this year. But I think the understanding was Jaden was coming in as a 1-year player and Walker was going to be able to compete for the starting job next year. I don't know if he wants to sit for 2. That's going to be interesting. And I don't have any insight. I've not talked to Walker. I've not talked to Jamie. I've not talked to Brian Kelly. I've not talked to Joe Sloan. I don't know anything about the decision making. But what I do know is that you got a guy that's that highly regarded. I don't think he was planning on coming to sit for 2 years. So what does he do? We'll see. LSU better watch out the way these bowl games are looking so far. Underdog 6-6 teams are showing up. But Cody, that's because who's motivated to be there, right? Like, you've got to look at motivation. I mean, Purdue has all of the opt-outs. They lost their coach, their quarterback opted out, their top 2 pass catchers, their best cornerback. Like, Purdue and LSU's the team that got a lot of dudes to return and play and go have a 10-win season. And, like, there's a reason that line's 14. Like, you're right, but the reason this line is what it is because it should be that big. Pretty cool. Brady had both Kevin Falk and Fournette in his backfield. LSU represents. Let's see. All right, I think we're just about done here. Again, as always, I'll shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProChar GV. If you're on Facebook, they're all pinned in the title. So if you would, I'd really appreciate it if you would just go like all those pages. That'd be helpful. David Tolson, Jerry DeLucky, what's good, man? Getting over the flu. Been watching a lot of Pels and Bowl games. All right, Jerry, not in a bad way to get over the flu. And last one, Todd Harris. What was Brian Kelly's reasoning for taking the team to Orlando so early? Wanted to give him an experience along with the bowl. Wanted to treat it like a reward, so they had enough time in Orlando to do Disney and all that stuff. I'm skeptical about being there a week. We'll see, though. Okay, I got to go. I got to get to trash and go get a workout in. Thank you all so much for being here. If you're new on YouTube, please smash the like button and subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page and share this post. We appreciate y'all as always. Have an awesome Friday. We'll see you tomorrow for more Scone. Peace.